He's like,
Hello, my name is Stephen West, and today I'm going to talk to you about serial killers. Before we get started, I want to share a quick statistic I got from USA Today. According to the FBI, during the past 4 decades, at least 459 people have been killed by serial killers. Have you ever wondered how many people have passed by you, not knowing they were serial killers, and you have said hello to them? This happens more often than you think. It could have happened to you. First, I will discuss some well-known serial killers. Then will be the reason behind their killings, and finally, I will inform you of the consequences of their actions. I have went over the topics that will be discussed for today. I will begin with describing a few famous serial killers. My first serial killer I will talk about is Ted Bundy. According to crimemuseum.org, most of his victims were women who looked like an ex-girlfriend who broke his heart. He would use a sling or fake cast and ask for help as he lured them to his Volkswagen Beetle. According to The Growing Menace from the Gale Virtual Reference Library, Ted Bundy was convicted of killing 2 students at Florida State University. One of the key pieces of evidence were a dental impression made from his teeth, which matched several bite marks found on the bodies. During his trial, he had confessed to committing at least 30 murders. The second killer I will be talking about is Jeffrey Dahmer. According to crimemuseum.org, he killed men from a variety of different racial backgrounds. He had a normal childhood growing up, but started to become disinterested in activities around the age of 10. When this happened, he became intrigued when drinking alcohol and playing with dead animals. His first victim was at the age of 18 when he picked up a hitchhiker by the name of Stephen Hicks. He got him drunk and then raped and strangled him. Another victim was a 14-year-old boy that he raped and strangled, but after he committed the act, he kept the boy's skull as a souvenir. My last killer I will talk about were 2 cousins. They went on by the name of the Hillside Stranglers. These names of the killers were Angelo Buono and Kenneth Bonacci. The 2 responsible for the 1977 kidnap, rape, torture, and murder of 9 young girls and women. According to The Growing Menace from the Gale Virtual Reference Library, the killers copied their techniques from another well-known criminal, Carol Chessman, a kidnapper and rapist who was executed in 1960. They would impersonate undercover police officers and persuade women to follow them back to their vehicles. Now that I've covered some famous serial killers, let's move on to the reason behind their killings. Ted Bundy lived with his violent grandfather and was antisocial. There was an allegation that he was molested by a Boy Scout leader when he was 9, which was a way for him to escape his feelings and being victimized and being fantasized about being all-powerful in control of his own destiny. He began peeking in windows after his first initial molesting incident until his first kill in 1999. Next is Jeffrey Dahmer. He had a normal childhood growing up until he began showing no interest in hobbies or social interaction at the age of 15. He developed a drinking problem in high school, and his father made him enlist in the United States Army until he was discharged. He later became intrigued with dissecting dead animals. During his killings, which started in 1978, he got the idea that he could turn his victims into zombies so they can become his submissive sex partners. Finally, we have the Hillside Stranglers. Bueno began showing a deep disdain for women at an early age, and Bonacci was born to an alcoholic prostitute but was later adopted at birth. The 2 cousins didn't pursue their killing fascinations until 1976. They pursued a world of pimping. They purchased prostitutes from a local pimp. Until they figured out they had been scammed, they sought out revenge, but they could only find the pimp's friend. They began to torture, rape, and then finally murdered her. This was found out to be their first official kill. Lastly, I will discuss in detail their punishments and how they lived out their final days. According to biography.com, Ted Bundy fought for his life trying to avoid the death sentence. Once his appeal was denied, he offered information of some unsolved mysteries to avoid his electric chair execution. On July 24, 1989, Bundy was put to death at 7 a.m. by the way of electric chair. In the end, he admitted to 36 killings, but experts believe that number is closer to 100. According to biography.com, Jeffrey Dahmer pleaded not guilty to all charges despite having confessing during his interrogation. He tried to change his plea by virtue of insanity. On February 15, 1992, he was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms. On November 28, 1994, Dahmer and 2 other inmates were on a work detail until one inmate beat him to death. For the Hillside Stranglers, according to crimeabout.com, they were found guilty and received a life sentence. Angelo Bueno, one of the killers, died of a suspected heart attack in September of 2002. Kenneth Bonacci, the other killer, is still currently serving a life sentence at Washington State Penitentiary. That concludes the details of their punishment. Now let's go over a brief summary. Today, we talked about some famous serial killers, the urges behind their killings, and some consequences of their killings. And the details of these killers is what drive the psychopaths of today. Thank you.